between 2014 and 2025. Fauci could, however, still face charges for anything after that date, including contempt of Congress. Well, let's speak to Joe Moreno, a former federal prosecutor. Thanks so much for joining us on The World Today, Joe. So just talk me through exactly, let's go back to why Mr. Fauci kept his silence during that hearing and whether that was the right thing to do given what's happened now.
Sure, Miriam. Good to be with you. Well, you teed it up perfectly, right? Because there's this pardon that begins and goes backward from January 19th, 2025, back to basically cover everything that Dr. Fauci did when he was the president's medical advisor and basically head of the coronavirus task force, right? So one would say, what does he have to invoke the Fifth Amendment about, which protects you against criminal prosecution? He would say, look, Republicans, Rand Paul in particular, and now even a number of states have been calling for my prosecution. So I'm not going to walk into effectively a trap and incriminate myself. So I can see, as an American citizen, I would love to know what Dr. Fauci knows that we haven't yet learned in public. But as a defense lawyer, I'd be the first one to say, look, there's no reason to help the government prosecute you. So to be safe, don't say anything at all.
But he's done that, right? That's okay. But what I don't understand is why is he being held in contempt? Surely the Fifth Amendment will offer him some level of protection, no?
Right. So there's a couple of different moving pieces here, right? Normally, a Senate committee would vote on a contempt finding. Then it would go to the full Senate. The Senate would have to vote on it and get 60 votes because of the filibuster rule. Then the Senate would refer it to the Justice Department, and the Justice Department would decide whether or not there's a legitimate criminal case to bring. It's rare, but it has happened a handful of times in the last few decades. So the number one thing, if you cross all of these procedural hurdles, then it would come down to, was this a legitimate assertion of the Fifth Amendment? Dr. Fauci would say, yes, I do not have a pardon or some kind of immunity following the date of January 19th of last year. Everyone's calling for my prosecution, and there's no way I want to entrap myself. The prosecution, if they brought one, would say, look, you have this broad pardon. All we're asking you to do today is to tell the truth. And the pardon does not protect you from perjuring yourself. So it would be a vigorous legal battle in the courts if it even gets out of the Senate, which at this point I'd say is pretty unlikely.
OK, so it looks like it's a pretty long way to go before then. Joe Moreno, we're out of time, but thank you so much for joining us and explaining that so clearly as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Miriam.
The sister of the murdered British exchange student Meredith Kercher has appealed to Amanda Knox not to go ahead with a comedy show at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Amanda Knox was